Yeah.
I put it on my
Yeah.
chair
No,
all the
I
time so
thought
that
that
I'm
I thought
using it.
like so the monks, like a lot of
I
the
was
monks,
gonna
they have the
throw it
same
on.
colors. So I thought like
Yeah, let me see what that looks like.
yes. Yes. Yeah. There it is. Like this is good continuity. It's good
That's
continuity
funny,
from the
dude.
last episode. Like you talked about the monks, and then we're like, he's
There we
becoming a
go.
monk, everybody.
Yep, I'm slowly. It's a metamorphosis into Buddhism.
Yeah. Welcome to another episode of the Back9 Brothers. It's super happy to be here. Graham, happy New Year, my friend.
Happy New Year, brother.
Yeah. Good break? Did you have a good break?
Yeah, the break was good. I've just been trying to. What is today? So I've been back at work for a couple weeks, and I mean, it took me, honestly, this year it took me a little while to get going again. I had to like force myself to start working again. I mean, there was a mountain of work to do too, but I don't know. It took me about that whole first week to just force myself to like get back in the groove, and so I don't know what that was, but I mean, break was good. Just getting back into work was. I had to put my mind to it and make myself do it.
I
How
had the
about you?
same problem. But what I realized is that there's something weird about the way that the beginning of the year sequenced, right? Like so you had the first on Thursday or something. And then so if you took that Friday off, then all of a sudden you got like the whole week off almost, right? And so people were doing that. And so they didn't come back to work till the 5th. But
Yeah,
a lot of people when they came back on the 5th, man, they're rearing to go. Like it
yeah.
was either rearing to go or your break was so nice, you're like, why didn't I win the lottery in the past 2 weeks?
I know. I know. I mean, mine was. It was. I don't know. I don't know if it was related to sales or what, but I'm always comparing myself to last year, and I'm always like, oh, this time last year we were doing this much revenue, or this month last year we're doing this much revenue, and I just felt like a huge lull at that time, which
Yeah.
makes sense. Nobody's working and whatever, but I can still occasionally find some revenue, some projects, some people to meet with, and it just felt like a huge lull, like nothing was going on. And so I was forcing myself to work in between Christmas and New Year's. But once I got into my office, I'd just be like checking out LinkedIn, scrolling TikTok. I'd like
Yeah.
post something on Facebook. Like I was not productive. So, but I think that's pretty normal. I think it's abnormal to be productive through the holidays and come back raring to go on January 2nd. And, which is what I typically do. It's just maybe it's because I'm older. I'm just like, man, none of this shit matters. The kids are home
Yeah.
from school and I'm like, I don't want to go in my fucking office. Like, let's hang in
Yeah.
our pajamas all day, so.
It's the right priority, man. Like I mean, we talked about this in our first episode, right? It's like kids are the years. I mean, the days are long, the years are short. You don't get the time back, so it's the right call, man. And I think I said this before as well. I used to be the guy who used to pride myself on sending an email at 1:30 in the morning, right? Or I worked. I responded to a client's email on my wedding day, and
No.
yeah. I did, and
You're a piece of
my
shit, Luther.
I yes, that is the title of today's episode. Luther's a piece of shit.
Whoa. That's
Yeah,
amazing, dude.
I responded to an email on my wedding day, and my boss, who is a good friend of mine, um, he came to the wedding. Like he actually came to the wedding, and he like afterwards we're doing the reception. The reception, he goes,
Yeah.
"Hey man, please tell me that I didn't see you send an email this morning." I was like, I did because this client, and I just jumped into it. I was like, this client is having this issue. And he was like, what is fucking wrong with you? Like, that's literally what he said to me. He was like, what is fucking wrong with you? Like, I was like,
Wow.
oh, good point. Like,
Did that
but in my mind, it was the opposite. I really thought he was going to be like, this guy's dedication is amazing.
Yeah. Did that have an effect on you? Did it change anything? Like, did you make a change then, or it was like it took more people telling you that stuff?
It took, honestly, I think age is really the thing that has changed me over time. There's a good amount of regret there where I regret not having spent more time or done more things.
Mm,
But
mhm.
I don't know, like you have to at some like just how you were talking about you compare yourself. Yeah, they say comparison is the thief of joy. I think regret is also an equivalent thief of joy in its own way. Because you regret not doing something, but then okay, just stop regretting and go do it now, right?
Right,
Like,
right.
like there's like one of the things that we want to talk about is like decisioning, right? Like there's a regret of not having taken a decision. Well, it's not too late, right? Like it doesn't really matter. Like what is that old adage? There's two best times to have planted a tree, like 20
The
years
the
ago and
best time to
today.
pl the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, the next best time is today.
Today, right? Exactly, right. So, and that's kind of I feel like overall, it's a good question. Like, did I change then? I don't think I changed right away, but over the years, I have seen where my not my work ethic hasn't like is still about the same. I think the way I prioritize stuff has changed quite a
I
bit.
was gonna say your priorities change. You're still a hard ass worker.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You can be a hard ass worker and not give up time with your kids and family and all that stuff. And I hate to say this, but uh, Europeans and a lot of other people from other countries, parts of the world, they do a
Yeah,
really good job of it. Like they have
yeah.
very clear set um
Boundaries.
uh boundaries. Yeah, boundaries is the right word. So I used to work for this one company. It was a Dutch company, I think. And so I went there. This is one of my first times I had traveled for work. I spent like a week in their office. The first day I got there, it was like a Monday or something. For the first thing that hit me up is like it's a Dutch company, so we're not in Amsterdam, but we were just outside of Amsterdam. It was like every 15 minutes they had an espresso. They were like, "Oh, coffee and cigarette." I was like, "Wow, okay, this is kind of cool." It was like literally every 15, 20 minutes, we'd be like mid conversation, they're like, coffee? I'm like, we just had one like 20 minutes ago. Like, okay.
It's it's funny, my wife keeps sending me TikToks of people in the Netherlands where they're talking
Okay.
about the 4-day work week and the,
Yeah.
because I think it's always the Netherlands are the happiest people on earth when they do polls and things like that. And she sends me all these TikToks of people being like, here's the grocery prices. And men only work 4 days a week and the women do this. And it's just like bliss and happiness. And I'm like, wow, would that be wild, dude? That would be wild.
Yeah. Yeah. So they did the craziest thing that I'd ever seen. It's almost like if you did this in the US, you would be like shunned, right? They would shun you for doing this. You know what they did? At 5 o'clock, they took their work laptop, they locked it in their work locker and left. I was like, I
What a
said, I
concept.
said, what an interesting concept, right? Like they said, "Where are you guys? Like, are you guys gonna come back later in the night and like take it back?" Like they were like, "No, we look at it tomorrow morning." I was like, "Are you for real?" Like, I mean, but guess what? Like they're super productive. Like I mean, even with
Right.
the espressos and cappuccinos and cigarettes they were super productive. They got work done. Like um it blew my mind, man. It absolutely blew my
Yeah.
mind. Like, like it's funny because like just this week, um, earlier this week, a good friend of mine who works for this large financial institution, he said to me, "Hey, my boss is getting on me because I'm not checking emails on the weekends."
No.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. This is a true story. Like he literally said, I was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, he wants me to check emails at least 2 to 3 times on a Saturday and a Sunday, because you never know what kind of important email may come through, and if it's really important, then I should be responding within like at least an hour or so of receiving it. And the fact that I'm not is kind of asinine. And I was like, I mean, we did this to ourselves. Like, I mean, there's that.
Yeah. Is that a global company where like they're on a different time zone and different like what or is
No,
it like really so important that
no,
they
both him and his boss are in the same office. They see each other every morning. So
But I mean, if clients are he wants them to reply to the boss's email. The boss wants him to reply to the boss emails.
his boss, one, wants him to check emails, period, on the weekends. Two, if there is an email from him, the boss, or the boss's boss, or somewhere up the chain, he wants a response within like 20 to 30 minutes of getting
Oh
that,
my God,
regardless
I
of what, 24/7.
I thought you were saying it was client emails coming in. So I thought, oh,
No, 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 no.
are your clients in China and they're 12, 13 hours different than
No,
us?
like,
No, you're
you know
saying
what?
boss. Oh my God, dude, that's so
That's a good point.
narcissistic and so, oh God, that's such terrible leadership.
I 100% agree on this. Like, I completely agree that that is crazy. Like, I mean, look, I think there is a time and a place. Like, if you're in ops, right? Operations, or you're in like what they call the NOC, right? Like network operations, etc. If you're in that and like you have an outage, oh yeah,
Right.
like
Of course.
all hands on deck. We're not getting off this call till we resolve this issue. Like, let's have a chain going. I want updates every. I've done that. Like, I've asked for like, hey, I want updates every 10 minutes. Like, somebody better. So I get an email, right? And I get that. But if you're just asking for like random ass email checks for not even client facing stuff, I'm like, I don't know.
Mm,
And I'd love to hear from like our listeners, like how they feel about this. Like,
yeah.
because I feel like we'll get some responses that say like, yes, this is the grind culture that we should be in. And I feel like maybe somebody will agree with us that this is bullshit.
So I think that used to be me. I don't know if we've talked about this or not, but um, especially when I started working for myself and working with leaders and coaches and mentors, and basically one of my best coaches was just like, man, I am so anti-hustle culture. He's like, I don't think you need to kill yourself and run yourself into the ground to be successful. I don't think you need to work 100 hours a week. If that's what you want to do and it brings you joy, then go for it. But everybody says this, like, entrepreneurs, you're working 24/7 and you're grinding. He's like, man, I am against grinding. I'm against anti-hustle, which I do think the only detriment I see in that is that where I'm in business 6 years later, I could probably be farther ahead, but I'm super
At the
happy.
cost of
I'm
what?
That's what I'm saying. I am content and super happy. If I was chasing a number or a certain benchmark, I probably wouldn't be there, but I'm super successful. I'm super happy. I'm not grinding and hustling. Like, I mean, I definitely prefer it this way. I definitely was coming up in corporate America was like weekends, evenings, how many appointments do you have tomorrow? What's your closing rate? It's like constantly checking numbers and stressing about that. And then that, what we talked about in the first episode was that kind of becomes your identity. That becomes who
Yeah.
you are, and once
Yeah.
you get away from that and start realizing, like you said, prioritizing the more important things in life, you're getting your work done, you're being successful, but you don't need to work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. I mean, just my opinion. I think it's a hot topic. People will have opinions for sure.
Yeah. And I'd love to hear their opinions because I'll tell you what,
Yeah.
like, I think part of part of what results in a 12-hour workday is a good amount of doom scrolling, right?
Hmm.
Mixed in with a good amount of just like bullshit stuff that you're doing that you like. Okay, nobody needs to check email every 5 minutes. Trust me, there's nothing there,
Hmm.
right? Like things like that. I think, and I've tried to do this not well, and I'm inconsistent about this, but I actually like people that do check like 3 times a day or 4 times a day. That's it. They only check email, and that's fine because I mean, worst case, they're an hour away from responding to you, and that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So no, it's been super interesting. Like, but going back to your experience in this from an entrepreneur perspective, when did you kind of make the decision that you're not gonna kill yourself doing this?
It was like 6 years ago when I was first starting this business and working with that coach and mentor. I was leaving a corporate job. I never dreamed of being a business owner, so I didn't know what the hell I was doing. So I'm watching YouTube and other gurus being like, got to do this, this, and this. So I'm in the video business. I'm thinking I need a certain type of camera. I need to run my business this way. This is how I pitch clients. This is all the, the line items that I offer them. It was just not how I approach my business now. And then one coach was like, dude, you need to show value to your clients and you
Mm,
need to care about your clients and help them. If you come at it with a servant's mindset of helping people and telling their story, it doesn't matter what kind of camera you have. It doesn't, line items don't matter, like none of that stuff. And then he was like, you don't need to work 100 hours a week. He goes, when he said, I am anti hustle culture, I was blown away because this guy is like a business mentor, a business coach. And I thought the mindset was always, you start a business, you don't sleep. You go 24 hours a day until it's out. And he's like, fuck all that, dude. He's like, you're going to kill yourself. You're never going to see your family. You're going to be miserable. Maybe you'll make a bunch of money, but you're going to be so miserable. And that light bulb just went off. I'm like, it's like a salary job where like they don't care if you work, 42 hours or 52 hours. As long as your work
yeah.
is done, you're getting your job done. And so it was then when thankfully, before I really launched this business, I already had that mindset. Like, I want fewer hours and more money, or I want fewer clients, fewer solid clients, and make more money. I don't want to have 1,000 clients paying $50, just fewer hours and more money. And so it was right then I learned that from him, and it just blew me away because I'm thinking business coaches just preach grind, 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 Wolf of Wall Street kind of shit. And thankfully, I learned it
Yeah.
very early.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. That's amazing. Um, the Alex Hormozy has a good quote around this. I think it's something like solve rich people's problems,
Hmm.
and you kind of like will never go hunting for money or whatever, like whatever the quote is. But like it's true though, like if you I think and look, I mean, not if everybody solved only rich people problems, like that's not gonna work either, right? But if you have a choice, then you
Yeah.
should try to find something where it's a rich person's problem. But yeah, I think there's something there. But no, working man, the working part is nuts. But I think, one thing I'll tell you, I've talked to you about this before. Like you're an entrepreneur. I've always been a entrepreneur, you know? And I think there's a lot of folks are on our side of life, right? On the back
Yep.
nine
Yep.
that are entrepreneurs, right? And I think the choice of being an entrepreneur in your head gets harder the older you get because you're always looking at like the upside and downside. You're trying to weigh those balances, and you're like, it's one of those things like like it's the old adage, right? If you have nothing to lose, then you should definitely go balls to the walls because you have nothing to lose. But the moment you think you have something to lose, you're definitely not betting on black. You're like, okay, how can how can place the smallest bet possible, right? That has the
The
most
least
amount of
amount of
upside,
risk.
least
Mm-hmm.
amount of risk, because I have so much to lose. And somebody once said to me, and now like I'm 46 now, and I've thought about this quite a bit. And this year, I really want to make a change around this, and so I'm putting it out into the universe, right? From that perspective, is he said to me, "Are you being way more riskier by not taking enough risk?" And I was like, "That is a very fair question, right? Very fair question because you're actually being more riskier by not being risky enough. Like you're not putting your maybe starting a business, or you're not putting your money into the stocks or the market or something that you're not doing, that you're like, oh, what if it goes down? What if I fail? What if this happens? What if that happens? Well, yeah, totally possible, right? Like there's even more stories where somebody does start something and they do win, they do become millionaires, or they do this, or worst case, they don't become millionaires, but they just have the joy of building something like you have, man, like, from the ground up, right? I think there's something there, like to make that decision, because every year that goes by, well, guess what? Your risk profile is not changing, right? Um, and at some point, you probably could be too old to do that. I'm not saying that there is, but you may think there is, right? How do you feel about that?
Yeah. It's funny. We met with our financial planner this week, and
Nice. That was one of the things that we
yeah,
were supposed to do. Yeah.
really, yeah, it sucks. Uh, and on the current trajectory where the business at is, like, she's like, oh, so Graham can retire at 70, and I went, oh. That sucks, dude. That sucks. But it's what I do in that next like 19, 20 years, which will lead us into the question we wanted to talk about a decision you've been putting off, in that it's how I take that information now. Do I keep going in the current trajectory? That's not the plan. If I start to increase my revenue in my business, I can retire sooner if I change the makeup of my business, or I build more value in it to sell it. Like if I change my goals, like all of that. I
Yeah.
mean, this just happened 2 days ago, and I was like, I mean, but for me that was good news because I was like, fuck, I can't ever retire, you know. But so that was cool.
Yeah.
But I also think, um, when you were talking about the risk is not taking the risk, is, man, what I know now about being an entrepreneur and how successful it's been and how great it's been for my family is, like I said, I never dreamed of being a business owner. I quit my job when I was 45 or 46. I just wish I knew this 20 years ago. You know, I'm like, I wish I had thought about doing this. I wish I had thought about being an entrepreneur. It just wasn't something that was in my universe. It was go to college, get a job, and retire. And it's just this current business was my side hustle and it got too big. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to quit my job. But as far as risk, I had 3 kids and a wife at home. But so we tried to plan as best we could. You know, we saved up money. I had a book of clients. I had committed contracts coming through, you know, so try to be as smart as we could. But looking back, I wish I had done it sooner. It would, you know, it's scary leaving a salary job and bonuses and all that stuff. And you know, the most addictive things in the world are heroin, carbohydrates, and a monthly salary. You
Yeah.
just get addicted to that. Oh, every 2 weeks or every month, oh, the money's going in the account, going in the account. So that's risky and scary. But had I not taken that risk, I can't imagine still doing the job I was doing. First of all, I don't even think we could afford to live
Mm.
uh, on what that salary was compared to what I make now. And just the freedom and the joy and the just fulfillment I get in life because of it. I wish I had taken that risk sooner, but if I had not taken that risk, I mean, I can't imagine what our life would be. It'd be tough right now. It'd be struggling. And so to your point, that would have been so risky for my family to not take that risk because we wouldn't be afford to live right now. I don't know. I don't know what the hell we'd be doing. I can tell you
That's a perfect example.
my son wouldn't be playing academy soccer. My daughter would not be in the company dance program. My other daughter would not be in gymnastics. Like my kids would lose opportunities. Uh, that's risky. Like oh my God, that breaks my heart to think about that. So yeah, I think that's an amazing adage that sometimes not taking the risk is the biggest risk.
Yeah. And yours is a really good example. And now that I think back at my own career, Monica Monica actually asked me a couple of times. She said, as because I was always prone to at the 2 to 3 year mark, I would make a change, right? Because something would come about, like some headhunter or somebody would call me and be like, "We have a role. This is what it is," and I'm like, "Okay, like I'm in," right? Like the the numbers are bigger, the opportunity is bigger, the responsibility is bigger. A couple of times, Monica would ask me like, "Do you know, like, what are you gonna be doing?" I was like, "Nope." She was like, "How do you just step into that?" I was like, "I mean, I'm an engineer. I think I'm pretty smart, and this is not rocket science, right? Like,
This is
we can
rocket
figure
science.
this out, from that perspective." And I would just go do it, right? But it's funny, I didn't apply the same logic to business ownership. Like I always was fine doing that with jobs. Like I was like, "Oh, I'm going to go do something that okay, I don't know exactly how I'm going to get this accomplished, but I trust myself and I trust God enough to like go get this accomplished, right?" But I never actually did that with like a business and said, "Oh, I'm going to go do a business." And I know that's how we met was when I had the digital marketing business, but I never actually put my heart and soul into like growing that business. And
Hmm.
so um this year, like I'm definitely of the mindset. I'm like, okay, job's a job. The industry that I'm in, fantastic. It's growing rapidly, but I should have some, what's the right word? Like some um, places of revenue that's not in the same industry that I'm in right now, right? And because that'll kind of act like a a ballast on the other side, right? If so something happens on that side, I have this thing. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, and I think that's to me like when we think about like decisions that we could have made sooner, should have made sooner. Those are one of the ones that I've been putting off. But what I told myself always is like, oh, one, the downside, right? Like, oh, start a business. Oh my God, like you go into debt if you had to, like all the stuff. But then I'm like, yeah, but the opposite, the flip side of that, the
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 upside.
ownership, yeah, the ownership of it, being able to build something from scratch, the responsibility that comes with that, the opportunities, right? All that stuff is way bigger than, oh, what if it fails? You know? And I think that's a big, and that's big. And like I said, like it only, like if you think about it, the older you get, the harder that decision gets.
Hmm. Do you think with your resume and your experience, because I look at you as somebody with this extensive resume who could get hired in a heartbeat. What do you feel like if you took a leap into business ownership or left the corporate world and started doing, and then 2, 3 years it does fail, you could get another job, right? Or
Yeah.
is that not
Yeah.
realistic?
No, it's pretty realistic in the sense like, I mean, the industry I'm in moves really fast, so you'd be a little bit out of touch of what's going on. So I actually want to do the opposite. Like I actually want to do something while I continue to have a job. So it's not like a
No,
clean
yeah,
cut.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
But so I want to hedge my bets a little bit from that perspective. But
Well, I'll
yeah,
tell you,
no,
that's
it's
sorry, I was just gonna say that's how I got that is at my job. I went part time. I was like, can I transition? Let's go part time for a while and kind of dip our toe into entrepreneurship. But I'm telling you, my resignation was in January, and I was going to stay till like April. So what is it, 4 or 5 months? But because I got an extra 20 hours a week by going part time, I had 20 more hours a week to put into my business. I had to quit in February, like 30 days later, because it
nice.
just went like that because I had
Yeah,
more time to put in it. But I had that safety net of still some salary, still that. So sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off,
sure.
but I think that's a good point to balance both at the same time and kind of not just take a leap without a net, you know?
Yeah. No, that's 100%, man. And if you think about it, there is comparison like we talked about earlier. There's the regret of not having done it sooner because I'm 46 now, right? And you said you quit your job at 46 and you were like, why didn't I do this sooner? And I'm there, right? I'm at the same
Yeah.
spot you were. And I'm looking back and I'm like, man, I had all these opportunities and it's not like I didn't know. I knew enough people that are entrepreneurs. I know enough people that are very successful entrepreneurs, right? Now, granted, like in my family, similar to yours, like it was always, I remember my mom telling me when for a long time, like I'd be like, oh, business just, and she would say like, yeah, businesses don't do well in our family, as if it's like some kind of like familiar like a
Curse,
curse. Like we're cursed with this thing. We
a
can't do
generational
business.
curse.
Yeah,
Oh
you
my
know what
gosh.
I'm saying?
Well, yeah, but you're Indian, right? So you're supposed to be, aren't you supposed to be a doctor? Don't your parents want you to be a doctor,
Or
probably, right?
yes, yeah.
Yes.
Well, but I could have gone the petrol the gas station route because that's a business.
Yeah, what the hotel Indians, the liquor store Indians, and the gas
That's
station
right.
Indians. Like that's
That's
the
right. By the
hey,
way,
yeah, I
like just
love
for clarification, I'm neither one of those. Just to be clear, I am the engineer Indian.
I'm none of those.
I
Oh,
am none
that's
of
so
those
great.
Indians, just to be very clear. But yeah, but no, like it's kind of nuts from that perspective that like I put this off, and like this year though, I'm of the mindset that I'm gonna resolve this risk that I've not been taking.
So do you so that's very interesting. So do you think that it's this thanks to your mom, there's like this limiting belief that, oh my gosh, if I do this, it's gonna fail? Like is there some trauma in there that holds you back? Like that's so interesting, dude.
I will tell you this. I will tell you this. This is something that I've worked on really over the past 2 3 months quite a bit. Is um I have feared, or yeah, what's the right way to put it? For me, the fear of failure way outweighs the the potential for or the potential or like the potential joy that I may get from being successful,
Wow.
right? And so
Yeah.
like and this is something that like I think like I said, the past 2 3 months have been really really good for me because I've spent a lot of time meditating, reading, just journaling, and just thinking through stuff. And I would say that I had this one, and not like it wasn't like a like this aha moment. There was no like thunder and lightning, and there was none of that. But it was this. There was a moment when I had like this thing, this one kind of thought that said like, "What, what the fuck are you scared of losing? Like, like what is it that you're holding on to here that is so freaking amazing that you're just like, oh, look at this. Like, what if I lose this? I'm like, so fucking what? Who fucking cares?
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, you lost, like, there's man, I'm going to look this up. There's a really interesting poem, but I think it's by Rudyard Kipling. Uh,
It's funny. I am the complete opposite. I do not fear failure at all. I don't mind falling on my face in front of people, being judged, fail. I have no fear of that. I am terrified of success. I am terrified of
oh, that's
being
funny.
the head guy. I am terrified of being the one that has to have all the answers. I'm terrified of not having somebody else to go above and get answers from. I've always been like that. I want to be the vice president, not the president. I am
Oh,
terrified of like
man.
being, isn't that wild, dude? Like I'm the complete opposite. I fear success. That is a fucked up
Mm.
mindset. But
But no,
it's
like, see, to be honest with you, I'll say this, Graham. I think part of the problem, part of the problem is that calling it a fucked up mindset actually fucks with you even more. What I mean by that is, okay, is it a healthy, useful mindset? No, I completely agree. Like the same thing with my mindset, right? Like the fear of failure. Like, what if you fail, right? And yours is like, oh, like fear of success, fear of success. Are they helpful or additive to your life in any way? No. But the moment you call it fucked up, now you're like, I'm still fucked up. I can't get rid of this fucked up mindset. Like, like, so then it kind of like, it's like a double kick in the balls, right? It's like
yeah.
the first kick in the balls was the mindset. And then when you call it a fucked up mindset, this is the second kick in the balls because there's something wrong with you now, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is like
No,
in
that's
Buddhism,
true.
there's this concept of, it's called the two arrows. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
I am not.
So the concept of the two arrows is basically to say that, um, a man he's out there in the forest, like he happens to be living there, like whatever maybe we'll apply it to the US, right? Guy's out there, he's out there hunting, he goes hunting with his friends, right, and he's in the bushes doing something. Somebody sees the bushes move, and some other hunter shoots at the bushes, which you're not supposed to, right, because you can't see what the fuck is going on. The guy gets shot. Okay, so that's the first shot. Like, that's he got shot while out hunting with his friends. As soon as he gets shot, his whole mindset is like, oh man, like what an unlucky day. Like, fuck, I should have, like, why did these things happen to me? Like, this always should, this is a bullshit, like, blah, blah, blah. That's the second shot. Like, that's the second arrow.
Mm,
Like, how you treat that first arrow, is it your fault? Like, what did you do? Like, are you angry? Are you resentful of somebody else? Like, I told my friend I didn't want to go. Like, like, I would have paid more attention if I didn't have that fight with my wife. Like, all that is the second arrow or the second shot,
mm,
you
I
know?
love it. Yeah, that's
And
a
so I
concept
think
I go ahead.
yeah, if you tie it back to like the mindset of like, I fear failure, I fear result, but then it's like, it's fucked up, and I'm such an idiot, I can't get rid of this fucked up mindset. Like, now it's the second arrow that goes with it, right? At least that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, and you telling me that story now is the third kick in the balls. So awesome. Uh but but no, it's good. It's good. It's good. I was going to say it's something I learned from another mentor, which it blows my I was I'm a late bloomer, let's say. I'm just very immature. I just love life. I would skip class in college. I didn't apply myself like that. My report cards, well, Graham is so smart, but he doesn't apply himself. He's always chit chatting, whatever. Like
Yeah.
I'm just pretty immature. And I was probably 27 or 28. And I was talking to somebody who was a business coach or a mentor, a corporate guy that I knew. And I was really upset about something. And he was like, dude, you choose how you react to a situation. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, I'm pissed off. Like I, I was basically like, I don't control that. I'm mad. He's like, yes, you do. It's your perspective and how you choose to react. That
Yeah.
was a mind-blowing perspective shift for me, which I think is what you're saying, how you react to that first arrow. It's going to be, is the second arrow going to be like,
I
man, that
have
sucks, but now I got to deal with this and move forward? Or is it, man, I did this and this is fucked up? Yeah. Yeah.
so there's two things that I've picked up as far as tools go over I would say over the past, let's just call it a month or so, right? There's two tools I picked up that I have noticed a seismic shift in how I react to things. Okay. One is I've I openly say I say it out loud. Like so if something says like I'm doing something and I'm about to go like, oh, I'm just gonna go check Instagram real quick. I say the words, I choose not to check Instagram right now. Right. And there's
Mm-hmm.
something there that the rest of your body goes, oh, Luther's choosing.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, like, well, screw that. Like, let's just go back and do what we're doing, right? Like, or if I just want to go, like, I don't know, there are times when I just want to go have like a giant bowl of raisin bran because I love raisin bran. Again, it's
Yeah.
like not great for, and I say like I choose not to eat raisin bran today, right? And there's something about that, right? That
Well, I think
helps.
it's probably neuroscience and probably your central nervous system and rewiring your brain and just changing your mind. And the more you say that, the more your brain gets wired to
Yeah.
I don't need raise or
Also, it
you're giving
puts you in
you're
control.
empowering yourself.
Yeah,
Yes,
it puts you in
empowering
control. You're
yourself.
no longer just
Yes.
giving into the thing. You're actually saying that's like, oh, no, I am in control here, which is what your friend was telling you, your mentor was telling you. The second thing that I can't remember where I picked this up, but there's something about, let's say you're doing something happens, whatever, right? And it's not like it could be really bad or not so bad, but if you talk to yourself in third person and say, all right, Luther, well, this is how it happened. Like, what are you going to do about it, man? What are you going to do about this? It actually changes and shifts some of that anger to this third person, or it actually
Hmm.
reduces that stress and anxiety that you feel because it's no, and this is a classic thing, right? I mean, like, if you talked to anybody else the way that you talk to yourself, like, you would have no friends and no family. Let's be honest. Right? Like the same thing, like it's like, like I was saying earlier, it's like, man, I am such an idiot. I am such an this, I'm a such a that. Like, what is fucking wrong with you, Luther? Like, why the fuck do you always like you would never say that to your kids. I hope so. I hope you never say that to your kids. Like
Yeah.
like but you do it to yourself every day and it's like nonstop sometimes, right? It's just nonstop. And I think these two things, like I choose to and saying it and like talking to yourself in like third person just for that one, like not all the time, not like you're not one of those
All day
people
long.
that refers to you. Graham, Luther thinks that this is a really good idea. Yeah, not that way.
Oh my gosh. I yeah, I have a good friend who's a mindset coach. You might know him. His name is Andy Robinson.
Okay.
Um he was in Iraq in 2006. He was a Marine and he was on a Humvee and the Humvee got blown up by a roadside bomb and there was four seats. He was in the seat behind the driver. The three other guys didn't make it. He was the only
Oh,
survivor of those
wow.
four, but he woke up in the hospital 2 weeks later, paralyzed from the neck down. He's quadriplegic.
Oh
And
man.
getting to know him and his business of teaching mindset, really, it was just him saying, okay, these are the cards I've been dealt. Now I need to figure out how to live a life of fulfillment and all this. And thankfully, I straight up asked him, I'm like, were you never like depressed? Or he goes, no, thankfully, I just chose, that's the word
That's
he's like,
crazy though.
I
Yeah.
chose to live my life this way. And now I try to teach other people exactly what you were talking about, making that choice, conscious choice. Like, I am going to do this, where he was like, I'm going to be in a wheelchair. I'm engaged. I married my wife and she had a married version 1 of me. Now I'm like this version 2. Is she going to still want to be with me? I don't know if we can have kids. I don't know if I'll ever drive. And then he goes on and they have kids. He buys a truck that he always wanted. He built this amazing financial career when he goes, I flunked math in high school, but he got this job. He figured it out, but it was all just because he
Wow.
chose, this is how my life is going to be. I am going to live a life of fulfillment and joy and gratitude. And these are just the cards that I've been dealt. And it's an amazing story, but that's what he teaches now to people. Exactly what you said. You can choose.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But that's so hard, right? Like in the heat of it, you just want to do you're just like like you said, you're just completely at the whim of whatever your body and your mind is gonna react at that time. Like, cause like my dad is one of those people. Like he was always angry, man. Like that. I like my dad. Like his persona is angry. It's like because it was he was always that guy to the point where my friends, none of them would come over because they're like, dude, you're dad. No way, man. And like it's also one of those things that I've realized, like, and I'm not saying this is a generational thing, but like sometimes you're also kind of giving in to that title or whatever that people have given you. Like if people are like, oh, he's just a very angry guy, you know? I feel like you're like, I gotta live up to that now.
Yeah.
Like
You step
people
into
expect
that.
this from me. You know? Like people expect this from me. They expect me to be an angry guy. Like so I'm gonna live up to it. Right. And then the more you do it, it's just like a self-fulfilling prophecy at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Uh
But on the flip side also, like that's been a big change for me in the last year or so, is that people have seen me in the local community as kind of not a coach, but a community uplifter, a community connector, a positive force. One guy was like, man, when you walk in the room, there's such a positive energy. And the more people have told me that, the more I've leaned into that, which,
of course. Yeah.
it can be positive too, where I'm like, hey, I'm the positive, supportive, uplifting guy that likes to help people and lift up the community and, just give and serve. And so, I mean, I've really, really leaned into that because of people. That's what people have said about me, whereas I was like, I'm just a video guy, you know. And they're like,
Yeah.
no, you're this, you do this. And so yeah.
No.
What we were talking about, oh, you were like, in 2026 I'm gonna do that and lean into that. And so let's let's talk about decision that you have been putting off, or would that be a decision you've been putting off that you are committed to doing, or what's a decision you've been avoiding
It's
and
a
putting off?
Yeah, it's around entrepreneurship, and naturally, I'll be employing your services when I start it. But yeah, it's definitely around entrepreneurship, and it's this franchise that I just put off and put off and put off, and I never really wanted to do it. Not, no, I take it back. I always wanted to do it, but then there was always a good reason not to do it, right? Part of it was, oh, my job's too busy. Like that's actually what
I
happened
was
with my
gonna
digital
say,
marketing
was
business.
it actually a good reason, or was it you telling yourself it was not a?
You know what it is? Like I think you can always tell yourself a good reason to do something, to not do something, either one, like whatever, right? Like there's always a reason that you can tell yourself to justify one thing or the other. And there's always a good enough reason that you can tell a room full of people where they'll be like, yep, yep, that makes sense. I mean, I completely agree why you did that or why you didn't do that or whatever. At the end of the day, like does it even fucking matter, right? That's not what matters, right? Like you're like this guy that you're talking about that's a quadriplegic. Like if he, for example, if he said, and then I was super depressed and I just thought of ending my life, I think none of us would say, we'd be like, I get it, man.
I
Like
get
I
it.
totally
Yeah.
understand. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I totally understand like why you would think that way or why you ended up in that mental state, or if he said like, hey, and then my wife divorced me, like, we're like, I get it. Like, I mean, I
Well,
don't
he
blame
said the
her,
same
right?
thing. He wouldn't have blamed her. Yep.
Yeah, but so, and a room full of people would have been like, yeah, that makes sense, right? But there's there are people out there that wake up and say, oh, even though it makes sense logically, and whatever logic is defined by, for me to do this or not do this, I'm gonna go do this, right? And those are the people that I think you ultimately hear about, listen, or even if you don't hear about them, like, I think they just have a sense of fulfillment, right? Like,
Hmm.
in your case, I think you said when you had lost, like, when COVID hit and you were sitting on your couch, I think, was it your dad or your father-in-law said, hey, maybe you can go back and ask for your job back? Because that was the
My
most logical thing
father-in-law.
to do.
It was my
Yeah,
father-in-law. Yeah, corporate America guy. I mean, yeah.
100%. Like, I, and I think if, uh, in that particular moment, if I were sitting next to you, I'd be like, yeah, bro, I think that's what you should do. Just call them back and see if you can get your job back because this shit ain't working right now.
Yep. Yeah.
Bills are piling up and your wife's probably like, what's going on again? And so,
And that was definitely a moment of decision where I think the ultimate decision came. First, logically, I was like, well, we have money coming in from last month's project there's some money coming in, we have savings. Like, logically, I was like, I think we're going to be okay. But it was a terrifying time. But it was really, the decision was, if I went back to a salary job, I know that I wouldn't have the balls to leave it again. It
yeah,
was like,
yeah.
I've done it. I ripped that Band-Aid off. We're here. Let's push forward. If I go back, I just don't think I would do it again, you know? And so, yeah, that was definitely a decision moment, where my father-in-law's, you need to call them and beg. He said, literally, beg for your job back.
Oh man, that's
I was
tough.
just like, man, I'm just not
That's
feeling
tough.
that. But yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's
Yeah.
tough. But like,
What's your decision that you've been putting off?
I'm gonna shave
Like you,
my eyebrows off.
but you would look wild with no eyebrows.
Me, anybody would look wild with that eyebrows.
But so have you pursued the franchise thing is in the works? It's happening, all that. It's like, it's
It's
gonna
yeah,
happen.
yeah. So I actually will go for my what they call a discovery day. Once I come back from,
Yeah.
so I'm leaving
Yeah.
tomorrow for Dubai and India. And so once I come back 2 weeks after that, I want to go for that. And I'll definitely keep folks on here posted on how that's gonna
Cool.
go. But yeah, like, I actually had a conversation with the funding folks on the other side, like, how to fund this thing,
Yeah.
um, etc. And so yeah, I really feel like this could be a good way for me to supplement revenue.
Mm-hmm.
Not supplement, not supplement. Add revenue
Yeah,
on top,
supplement.
right? Supplement, yeah.
Don't
So
you
that's
speak
been good.
7 languages, dude?
Clearly, English is my struggle right now.
I had I had a really cool experience this week talking about like supplementing or growing, and um for the last 6 years I've pretty much been solopreneur, doing
Yeah,
video production, shooting on my own. I might have a couple editors that I've edit things. Here and there I've hired somebody to shoot with me, but most of the time it's been me. But in the last year, I knew that to get over a certain level, revenue level or business level, I would need to have a team. And I put that off because, it's a fear of trusting somebody with your baby, like I don't trust somebody. They're not going to do it the way that I do it, or just finding the right people, or just not wanting to worry about managing other people. Like, let me just do it myself and do it the right way. And
that's the
then you
classic one.
learn,
Yeah,
yeah, to get
yeah.
over a certain revenue hump, you got to bring on a team. So in the last year, I've been hiring a couple people to run the video set, and I basically just talk to the client, and they do all the cameras and lights and everything, and it's been really cool. And then on Monday we did a shoot, and it was just such a cool energy with two guys with me who are really, they're not just camera operators who hit record and sit back there. they understand storytelling and marketing and all that. They were interjecting questions to get the client to open up more and tell her story. And like her energy was so amazing and positive. Their energy was so amazing and positive. A local business coach was letting us use her office space.
Nice.
Her energy was so positive, and like it was just this whole vibe all day long. And I just felt so joyful, and I never touched a camera the whole day. And it just made me reflect, like, this is what I need to do. I need to keep doing this. I'm committed to myself. I'm having a crew for every shoot. I'm never shooting by myself again. That's the only way that I'm going to grow. That's the only way I'm going to achieve revenue growth and not have to wait till I'm 70 to retire. So that's what I was talking about before with like maybe having to pivot how I operate my business, or, a different approach to it. And yeah, that was, I knew that I needed a team. I knew, because I've been at a similar revenue level for like 4 years,
Mm.
and it's really just because it's as much as one person can do. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
and everybody's like, you need a team, you need a team. And I was putting it off. And now I finally did it. And oh my God, again, I wish I had done it years ago, because it's been so amazing. But it was also that fear of outputting money. Like every time
That's
they're
right.
on the set, that's $2,000.
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
rather
Yeah.
have that
Yeah.
$2,000 in my bank account, but the value that it brings, the freedom that it brings to me, the joy, the quality it brings to like it's $2,000 is such a minuscule amount compared to the value it provides for everybody. But that's what was holding me back, was the fear of they're not going to do it the way that I do it. And that, man, that's $2,000 every project, uh, God, I'm never going back. I wish I had
Yeah.
done that sooner.
I feel like in order to grow, you always have like a little bit of a dip right before the growth, right? Like, there's always like a little bit of a pullback that you'd be like, yep, that's, like, and like, and I'm not also like, I'm not saying that to say people are always like, it takes money to make money. Like, I'm not saying that, because like trust me, there's lots of people that know how to make money, whether it takes their money, somebody else's money. And like, if, I'd love to hear from people listening, how they think about that. But it always takes something, right? It always takes something for you to make that. And maybe it's money, maybe it's like better muscles at the gym, right? Maybe it's like a better body, like maybe it's better at your relationships. But it always takes something to do it. There's always like an investment that you have to make
Well,
somewhere.
I heard an amazing quote. I don't think we talked about this. It was a marketing guy who I've watched a lot of his YouTube stuff, and he's just very good. I trust what he
Is it Rory
says.
Sutherland? Because that's my favorite marketing guy.
I'm not even sure, to be honest with you. I've seen like 10 of his videos, and I can't even tell you his name. But because I'm listening to the content. I don't care
Yeah,
about his
yeah. He
brand.
needs to
I
get,
don't care about his
yeah, yeah.
name or his brand. I'm just watching him present this stuff, and I'm like, that's so smart. But he said, I can't remember if he said rich people and poor people or successful people and unsuccessful, but it was basically like successful people spend money to save time. Unsuccessful people spend time to save money. And I'm like, that is exactly,
Repeat that. Say it slower again. Say it again slower.
successful people or rich people spend money to save time,
Yes.
hiring a crew, hiring editors, hiring people. Whereas unsuccessful people or people who are stuck are spending time to save money. That would be like me doing that
That's
whole
true.
shoot on Monday by myself, then spending 20 hours editing the video. That's 30 hours of me shooting and editing videos. Whereas my superpower is relationships and sales and growing my network. And so by investing the money into having a team, I'm saving that time. I'm spending the money to save the time. Whereas I would usually save the money. I would spend the time. I would do the work myself
Yep,
to
to
save
save the
that
money.
extra two
Yeah.
grand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
No,
I'm telling you,
100%.
since I've been spending the money, it's been like, wow, man. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. No, no. If I had a dime or a nickel or a penny or whatever other things that we want to think about. Well, pennies are no
A
longer exist,
doubloon.
so yeah, yeah, yeah. For every time I heard somebody say like, "Oh, I we started making more money once I got out of the business."
Yes.
Like, because you just step out. No, there are lots of other cases where somebody steps out and then they don't pay attention and then it all goes to shit. But if you step out, pay attention to the right numbers and let other people build that business and incent them the right way, I think it definitely there's always a
Yeah.
huge growth
And
perhaps.
I mean, it's really finding your purpose or your skill set. Like for me, I'm great at shooting videos. I'm great at editing videos, but I'm even better at storytelling and connecting with people and networking and relationships. And so if I hire people, and that's the other thing is like erasing my ego and hiring people who are better than me. Like the guys that work with me are so much better. They know so much more about cinematography and camera gear than I'll ever know. And I'm fine with that, man. I just turn them loose and they make me look amazing. And I just continue to go to networking and I form relationships. Now, if I was a super cinematographer and that was like my purpose and that brought me joy, then that's what I would do. So I've just found that I like it enough, but what I really love is relationships and building this business and hiring people who are better than me. And it makes me look really smart. It makes me look really
Yeah.
good, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that totally makes sense, man. But that's where we are, you know? I think there was a good discussion around like decisions, man. Like decisions, things that we've been putting off,
Choosing,
regrets that we probably have, you know,
empowering
choosing to
ourselves
actually,
or
yeah, choosing
control.
to how to
Yeah.
like control. One parting thought, I think, for folks listening, there's a poem by Rudyard Kipling. It's called If, and it's really, really, really insightful poem. It's basically like it's a narration, or it's a father to son dialogue from that perspective. But
Mm,
it's a really well written poem from that perspective, and I highly recommend reading it. So with that,
a
that
cliffhanger. I thought you were going to read it to us.
oh man,
We
no,
we
I
got to go
think that
find
would
it.
be.
Okay, cool.
I think we would have negative reviews and negative viewer counts. People would be like, never gonna listen to those guys again. That was
Awesome,
boring.
man.
You know, here's the thing. I choose not to read this poem, Graham,
That's
for
good,
your
dude.
sake and the listener's sake. I choose not to do this.
Big of you.
Awesome, man. Well, great chatting with you, catching up with you. For
Yeah,
those
buddy.
listening, definitely like and subscribe, and look forward to catching you up on the next episode.